Okay, today we're going to be dealing with expressions and operations with square roots. That's, a number is squared, it means it's raised to a power of 2, so 5 squared simply 5 times 5. You just write 5 however many times the exponent's there. So the inverse of squaring a number is taking a square root. So whenever you see a square root also, for instance, they said the square root of 25. You know how there's a little 2 right there for an exponent, for being squared exponent. This square root, there's actually a little 2 right here. So it just means what times what equals 25. So therefore that would be 5. In the same way that if a cube root would be 27 means what times what times what equals 27. So 3 times 3 times 3 equals 27, so therefore the answer is just 3. And so anyways, it's just implied that there's a 2 right there. We just don't ever write it, but that's just implied when there's a square root. Okay, so let's look at a couple examples. So the square root of 16 times 18. So the best way to do this, there's no necessarily right way to do it. You could multiply those two numbers out and break it down, but I think the easiest thing is just to separate it as square root of 16 times the square root of 18, and you break them down like that. So the square root of 16, that's just simply 4, right? 18, let's break it down, that's 9 and 2 and 3 and 3. So when you have a pair of something, it can come out. So it's going to be 3 square root, there's only 1 2, so that stays inside. And then 4 comes down from that, so 4 times 3 squared is 2, so that's going to be 12 square roots of 2. That's going to be your answer. Now it's important to note that square root of 18, I chose to use 9 and 2. You could also use 6 and 3. You can use any numbers and you're still going to get the same answer. That's going to be 2 and 3. So therefore, there's 2, 3, so that comes outside, 2 stays inside. You'll notice that's the same answer there as you got there. So any numbers you want to choose will work. So that's the first example. Second example, again, we just want to break this up. So this is going to be the square root of 4a squared over b squared. So we'll break it up like this: 4a squared over b squared, the square root of b squared. So this could be the square root of 4, the square root of a squared all over square root of b squared. So the square root of 4 is just simply 2. A squared, let's do a little quick note on a squared. That's the same thing as a times a. And remember, when there's a pair of anything, we can just bring one of them outside. So that's just going to be 2a. So b squared, that's the same thing as square root of b times b. That's a pair, so therefore one comes outside. So it's just simply 2a over b is the answer. The last example. So that's the square root of 5x cubed minus 2 times 20x cubed plus x times the square root of x. So remember, if it has the same radical, if it has the same variable underneath the radical and the same exponent, then you can combine them. But if they don't, you can't. So since this is a 5 right here and a 20 right here, we can't just combine those like that. So we just want to break down each one of these. So that's already in simplest terms, except for x cubed, right? This is going to be 5x, x, x. So remember, one of those can come outside because there's a pair, so we can do x square root of 5x. This is going to be, remember, we could break down, it's going to be 2 square root of 20 x, x, x. So one of those x's can come outside. Remember, this can be broken down as 5 and 4, 2, and 2. So we already have a 2 right here. We can bring one more outside because of that. And we can also bring 1x outside because we crossed these out. Now what's left is 1x and a 5, so it's going to be 5x plus x squared of x. That can't not be simplified any further. So now let's look at this. This is going to be x squared of 5x minus 2 times 2 times x is 4x squared of 5x plus x squared of x. So with that, this x has a 1 in front of it. We just don't write it. So we can combine square root of 5x and this square root of 5x because they're the same. However, we can't combine this because this is just square root of x, not square root of 5x. So these are like terms. 1x minus 4x is going to be negative 3x square root of 5x. That stays the same, plus x square root of x. So that is how you do that one. It's fairly straightforward. Just simplify each one and then combine it. I think those are all of our examples, and we'll get started with number 1 with active expressions.